Do you know about ICWA? I was in the foster care system from the age of 2 months old until I aged out at 18. As a member of a federally recognized tribe, and because I was born in a state that follows ICWA guidelines, I was always placed in Native foster homes, or in homes that were required to prove that I was connected to my culture. It's because of the Indian Child Welfare Act, a piece of legislation that seeks to correct centuries of forced removal of Native children. But ICWA is being challenged in the Supreme Court right now. For Native people, the forced removal of Native children from our communities has been a key tool in Indigenous genocide. During the U.S. Indian boarding school era, the federal government forcefully and coercively removed Native children from their families to assimilate them into white culture and erase Native identity. Many people are unaware that the theft of Native children as a means of genocide didn't end there. From 1958 to 1967, the federal government enacted the Indian Adoption Project with the explicit goal of adopting Native children out to white families. During this time, Native children were literally stolen away from their families. And by 1978, 1/3 of Native children had been taken. And approximately 80% of Native families living on reservations had lost at least one child to the foster care system. In 1978, championed by Native advocates, the Indian Child Welfare Act was passed. ICWA respects the inherent sovereign right of tribes to determine the outcomes of their children and prioritizes placements with Native foster homes and with family. It's the reason why I got to grow up with a strong sense of my identity and was rooted culturally in a way that had tremendous positive impacts on my mental health and sense of belonging. On November 9th, the Supreme Court will hear the landmark case Bracking v. Holland. If the Brackings win and overturn ICWA, it'll have horrible implications for Native families, children, and tribal sovereignty, which is probably why they're being represented pro bono by a law firm that represents right-wing groups and big oil. Please help us bring awareness to this issue. Protest, share, learn more at the links below.